Okay, this video is to assess the qualities of these Wyandottes. So there's 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm hoping to pick a couple showbirds out of this, and a few salesbirds, and probably a couple culls. So that's kind of where I'm at. Sorry for the background noise. They're doing bridge construction right over there, so great. Hopefully you can hear me through it all. So let's get started. So you can see right in there, hopefully, there's some red right in the shoulders, same on the other wing. And I had a really good bird about 6 years ago that had red on the shoulders, and I used them, and I put them in. The first generation I didn't get any red on the shoulders, but ever since I've been getting at least 3 or 4 birds a year with red on the shoulders, usually really good ones, so I can't use those. I've been just getting rid of everything with red on the shoulders. If it has red in the hackle, this one has a tiny bit right there. Red on the hackle is not so bad. Usually when I pull the red from the hackle or the saddle, it'll come back black, or the feather will just be missing when you go to the show. It's fine. Shoulders, it's like the whole way through. There's nothing you can do about it. So to me, that's an automatic removal from the program. So other than that, how's he looking? Yeah, I was right. They're just under 6 months. You can kind of tell with the one pointy flight feather left. So they just haven't quite melted that out. He's got a good tail, decent width, good body on him, nice comb. But that red is the deal breaker, so he'll go in the box. Okay, so I found another one who has a poor leader. So I thought it was missing, so I pulled him out. But there is enough for me to get my finger hooked underneath it, and that's kind of the judging unwritten rule. If you can get your fingernail underneath it, then it's got a leader. It might be a terrible leader, but it's there. A lot of people really focus on leaders, and it's really nice to see a really good leader, but the standard doesn't allow much points for it. It's like 2 points. So a bird with a really bad leader can potentially win the whole show based on everything else. So for now, I'll put him back in, and we'll see what we can do. So while I have him out, what I'm looking for on the wings is any white tips to the feathers. Don't like those. I'm also checking to see, I want the wing short, and here, let's do the other way. I want the wing short and without any gaps between the feathers. So when I pull the wing out, I want the feathers to overlap the whole way along. And I also want it to be rounded and not come to like a point or something where the wing would be too long. A short wing really helps with the wing carriage. He's got a pretty little head on him. So we'll put him back for now. Okay, so here's the first one. He's a bit smaller of a bird than the others. Don't worry about the splits in the breast. These birds haven't been washed. They're not quite done molting, so that'll kind of go away in the wash. So for me, I like his short little wings. I like his compact body. He's smaller. He's got a nice looking comb, good and broad, comes to a nice leader, good head on him. Right now he's holding his tail somewhat pinched and low. So I'm looking for 40 degrees on that tail, and his is at like 5. But he's young, he's stressed out. I haven't pulled him out yet, so I haven't seen what his body is like, but I'm guessing he's going to need to put on a bit more weight still. So I'm kind of a fan of that bird. That's the kind of bird that I like to help bring down the size of them. But again, that tail's got to come up, or he's not going to be worth it. On to the next one. So this guy, great tail angle on him, eh? Nice front on him, beautiful head. Station looks pretty good. I'd like him a little bit lower in the chest, but honestly, I'm pretty excited for that bird. He's even pretty calm. His tail's nice and open. I think that with some training, he'll be a good one. I'm not seeing a whole lot I dislike on him right now. I'm sure I'll find some stuff when I pull him out in hand, though. This one, he doesn't quite have the same width as the last one, so you can kind of see when he turns, he's not quite as broad across the chest, not quite as broad across the back. His head doesn't quite have that same power to it. You can see his is real bulky and round, or his is a little bit more refined, which isn't really a bad thing. Honestly, the bulky ones are getting a little out of hand. I'm just not sure. He's clearly not quite the bird next to him, but once we get him in hand, we'll see what's up. This is another little one. Better tail angle than the first one. Again, kind of pinched through there, through the tail. His chest needs to fill a bit, but he's got potential. He's got a nice top line. I think that tail is going to come up when he relaxes just a little bit. So I'll take a look at him. Next up, his wings are dropped clearly, but I think with my birds, those tend to come up as they finish, so he might be a little bit younger than some of the others. He's got a little bit better width than the third one over here, but he's pretty comparable to that bird. Great comb on him. When I pull him out, I'll show that. And then the last one is that one with the little leader. Okay, come on. Come on. So he's pretty leggy. His tail doesn't look quite long enough to balance him. He's not too bad. Quite long in leg, though. I know people say the Wyandottes are too short in leg, but I think there comes a point when they get too long in leg, too. So I'll start pulling them out and take a look. So the first one, we said that he was low in tail. He was smaller and more compact. Now that I've got him out, he is quite small, and you can see his wings. There's still 3 feathers to go, so he's got to be at least a few weeks, maybe a month less than the rest. His tail, he's got beautiful tail feathers on there. Nice sickles coming through. I think that'll spread and raise when he's finished. You can see there's a lot of pins in here still, which help push that apart. And when he gets some chest on him, that should improve too. The head, I love that head. Nice and round, super wide. Comb fits really nicely on it. I'm thinking this is going to be a bird I want to breed from. I'm not sure that he's going to be ready for the show in 3 weeks. You know, his tail might not come up in time. Once again, the tail comes up once the weight on the front comes in, the wings finish. It all kind of works together. I was thinking he had mites, but no mites, which is good. So no red on him. Great width across the back. So when I'm looking for width, I go across the hips like this. And then for the body, I look at the depth of body by wrapping my hand around him like this. I put my thumbs on top of his back and my fingers, one behind the leg, 2 in front, and then a front finger up here. So I'm feeling for the front of the keel, which is right there. I'm feeling the keel bone which is parallel to the back. So if I take my fingers and run them along, it's the same width all the way, the same depth all the way along. And then looking at him from above, nice, carries his width right out the back through the hips. So I think with a wash even, it'll get that tail width right where it needs to be. And it'll be interesting to see how his tail comes in. There's still tons of pins in there. So undercolor looks slate. You can just see pins. That's what the white is just pins. And the saddle, we're slate. Wings, nice and short, good wide feathers. That's a nice bird. Legs nice and yellow. A little bit of shading on there, but barely any. On to the next one. So this was my pick when we walked through. Remember, he was standing real nice, had that tail wide apart, lots of body on him. So straight away, this is a slightly bigger bird than the last one. Head looks real nice, similar to the last one. Not quite as short in beak, not quite as big for his body, but still real nice and full. Good and tight around the eyes. I've been trying to work away from having some white at the front. Yeah, so let's look at the wings. That looks good. So he's clearly a little bit more finished than the last one. I shouldn't have worn a black shirt, should I? Ah, well. Nice tail feathers on him. One's broken. Oh well, it is what it is. Yeah, great comb. It's even got a bit of a yellow beak. Good back length, good front. He's a nice one. That's definitely going to be a showbird. He might also be a breeder. We'll see. But definitely a showbird. Now, once again, these birds are straight out of the A-frame, so I haven't done any handling. A-frame being like a grow-out pen. Oh. It's a feisty little guy. All right. So, really nice comb on him. Starts out square at the front. Is wide, evenly tapers to the spike or the leader. Where it comes on, leader is perfectly round, tapers to a point. The whole thing follows the shape of the head. It's maybe a little bit too small for him, but he's got a more fine head anyways. That's a really nice comb. So this guy's head, again, it's a little bit more fine. We said that right from the start. It's nice and round, but it's just not quite as big. Tail looks beautiful. Like it's, I guess, hard to see on the camera, but they're fantastic tail feathers. Nice and stiff, nice and wide, no taper, but you can see he doesn't have the width of the other birds. When you get him in hand, you can feel it. So he'll probably be a sailbird. Okay, on to the next one. So this guy has another one of those great heads, nice and wide, beautiful comb. I like it a little more square in the front than that, instead of the rounding out and tapering in. It says square on the front in the ABA standard, but not the APA. Or maybe that's the other way around. I don't remember. But I kind of like it a bit more square. Either way, though, that's still a real nice comb. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You you can't dock any points. It's just a style thing. So from a judging standpoint, that is a perfect comb. So this guy's got a nice head on him. Yeah, he's a little light, despite being further along in the molt. He doesn't have a ton of weight on him. Bone structure though, he's got good width across the hips. He's got good depth on the front. I think he just needs to go on a fattening up diet and see what he looks like in a couple weeks. So that one might be a keeper. There you can kind of see what he's working with now. It's a decent bird. Once again, I haven't trained them at all, so this is straight out of the pen. A little bit of work inside, and they'll be different birds. I think that's going to be a real good bird. If I can get weight on him fast, I'll deworm him. Try and get some weight on him quickly, because he'll be a show bird. He's nice. He'll be probably be a breeder too. Alright, next one. So this guy has a pretty nice comb. I think I said this guy was a real nice comb before, but now that I got him out, I can see there's a few little hollows there. So just a couple little hollows at the front, and or hollow center, I guess they call that, and this little guy down here. I worry that when this guy finishes too, that comb might rise up off of his head in this section here. So like, yeah, near the front of the comb, I'm worried that might lift a little bit. So far it looks fine, but I just, it has the starts of it. The comb is starting to lift at the edges. Nice head on him. So he's again not quite as wide, not quite as deep. He also feels like his keel tapers slightly at the front, but not much at all. I want better feather width on him. You can see he's got nice stiff open tail feathers, a nice beautiful A-frame, but I'd like it to be a little bit wider in there. And then wings, same thing in the wings, there's just a little bit of gappy. Now once again, this is like stuff that I'm picky about, but isn't really in the standard. But to me, this bird across the board is a little bit long feathered and narrow, so he doesn't quite have the substance of the other ones. So he would be my 5th place bird right now. All right, and the last one. This is the one with the poor leader. And he's got some good weight to him. Nicely filled in the chest. There's his head. Similar to the others, but not quite as wide, not quite as powerful as some of the other ones. Wings look good. Bit of a white tip there though. Just the starts of one. It's not enough to worry about at this point, but as a cock bird, I can tell you this bird will not be showable at all. Tail looks good. Stiff feathers. Looks like the feather quality might be a little bit less. It's Nice shape of feathers. They're good and wide, but they just don't seem to be quite as thick as some, and they're breaking down a little bit. To be honest, this bird is better in hand than I thought he would be. I was thinking I was going to end up removing this one entirely, but you know what? With that comb, I want him to be exceptional across the rest of them, and he's just good. So I think he's out. So that brings me down to 5. So start back over there. Yeah, it's really hard to see what I'm looking at in this thing. Okay, there we go. So the little guy, I thought he'd make a real good breeder, but he wasn't ready for show yet. This one, showbird through and through. Probably keep him as a breeder too. This one, there's lots to like on him. But he'll go as a sales bird. That one is a showbird and a keeper. Now that he's up a bit, that guy needs some weight, big time. So I've got to get him on a high protein diet, high fat diet. So I'll fatten him up as quick as I can, deworm him too. And this one, it's a nice little bird, really. He's longer in feather, not quite as deep in body, but he's still real nice. So he'll be a sale bird. So I got 2 sale birds and 3 keepers. And that's that. So that's pretty much what I look for with these guys at this point. They're pretty consistent. I've been doing really good with these Wyandottes this year. Yeah, so that's that for now, and I've got another round to go through in a bit, so maybe I'll do them as well.